What if I told you that a man can hide his feelings from everyone except his own words? Long before he says, "I love you," 11 simple words quietly expose the truth he never intended to reveal. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll recognize the exact phrase that separates temporary attraction from a connection that reaches straight into a man's heart. And you'll never hear those words the same way again. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more insights into psychology, relationships, confidence, and emotional attraction that most people completely overlook, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Most people believe attraction begins with appearance. They assume the first thing that captures a man's heart is beauty, youth, or excitement. But the truth is far more surprising. As a man grows emotionally, his priorities begin to shift. He starts realizing that looks may catch his attention for a moment, but emotional safety is what keeps his heart from wandering. This is one of the biggest reasons many men find themselves deeply connected to an older woman. She often brings a sense of calm that feels rare in a world full of uncertainty. Instead of making him guess where he stands, she creates an atmosphere where he can simply be himself. Think about how exhausting it is to constantly perform. Many men spend years believing they must always appear confident, successful, and emotionally unshakable. They learn to hide their fears, swallow their worries, and pretend everything is under control. Yet when they meet someone who listens without judging, something inside them begins to soften. They no longer feel the need to wear a mask every minute. They discover that being accepted is far more powerful than being admired. That feeling is incredibly attractive because it offers peace rather than pressure. An older woman often understands that every conversation does not need to become an argument, every disagreement does not need a winner, and every moment of silence does not signal a problem. She knows that trust is built through consistency, patience, and respect. Instead of reacting to every emotion, she responds with balance. That emotional steadiness becomes a safe place where a man feels comfortable sharing thoughts he has never spoken aloud. He notices that he is laughing more, worrying less, and looking forward to conversations that leave him feeling lighter instead of drained. This kind of connection cannot be manufactured with clever messages or romantic tricks. It develops slowly through honesty, reliability, and genuine understanding. A man begins to associate her presence with comfort rather than stress. He feels heard instead of dismissed. He feels valued instead of evaluated. He feels encouraged instead of criticized. Those emotions create a bond that reaches much deeper than physical attraction ever could. When emotional safety becomes part of the relationship, his words naturally become softer, warmer, and more sincere. Without even realizing it, he starts speaking from the heart because for the first time in a long time, he feels completely safe, allowing someone to see who he really is. Admiration is very different from attraction. Attraction can appear in an instant. It can be sparked by appearance, mystery, or excitement. But admiration takes time. It grows through repeated experiences, quiet observations, and countless small moments that reveal a person's true character. When a man's heart genuinely belongs to an older woman, he often finds himself admiring her in ways he never expected. The interesting part is that this admiration doesn't stay hidden. It naturally begins to shape the words he speaks. Instead of trying to impress her with exaggerated stories or constant compliments, he becomes genuinely curious about her thoughts. He asks for her opinion because he values her perspective. He listens more carefully because her experiences carry weight in his mind. Even when he disagrees, he speaks with respect rather than trying to prove he is right. His language becomes less about winning conversations and more about understanding the person in front of him. This shift happens because admiration changes the purpose of communication. A man who is only temporarily attracted often speaks to create an image of himself. He wants to appear confident, interesting, or desirable. But a man who truly admires someone begins speaking with honesty instead of performance. He worries less about saying the perfect thing and focuses more on creating a real real connection. That authenticity becomes obvious in simple everyday conversations. He thanks her for advice, remembers details she shared weeks ago, and brings up subjects that matter to her because he knows they matter to the woman he deeply respects. An older woman often earns this admiration without demanding it. She doesn't constantly seek validation or compete for attention. She remains confident in her identity, comfortable with her values, and secure enough to let actions speak louder than words. That quiet confidence has a powerful effect. It inspires respect rather than intimidation. It encourages openness rather than defensiveness. A man begins to appreciate not only how she treats him, but also how she handles challenges, relationships, and life itself. As admiration deepens, his words become more thoughtful. He starts saying things like, "What do you think? I trust your judgment," or "You always help me see things differently." These aren't rehearsed lines meant to create romance. They are natural expressions of genuine respect. They reveal that her influence reaches beyond emotion and into the way he thinks, decides, and grows. When admiration becomes part of love, every conversation carries a little more patience, a little more gratitude, and a little more sincerity, quietly revealing that his heart has already chosen where it belongs. One of the biggest signs that a man's heart truly belongs to an older woman is not found in grand romantic gestures. It is found in the way he communicates. Emotional maturity changes a person's language long before it changes their relationship status. The words become calmer, the conversations become deeper, and the need to impress slowly disappears. Instead of speaking to gain attention, he begins speaking to build understanding. Many people mistake confidence for speaking the loudest or always having the perfect answer. In reality, emotional maturity often sounds much quieter. A mature man becomes comfortable admitting when he doesn't know something. He is willing to apologize when he makes a mistake. He listens without preparing his next response while the other person is still talking. These simple habits reveal a heart that values connection more than control. An older woman often inspires this kind of communication because she usually values honesty over performance. She is less interested in empty promises and more interested in consistent actions. She recognizes the difference between someone trying to look impressive and someone who is genuinely trying to grow. As a result, a man begins to lower his emotional defenses. He realizes he doesn't have to pretend to be perfect every minute. He can admit his fears, talk about his goals, and even reveal the insecurities he has kept hidden from others. This creates a powerful cycle. The more accepted he feels, the more honestly he speaks. The more honestly he speaks, the stronger the emotional connection becomes. Conversations stop revolving around surface-level topics and begin exploring dreams, values, childhood memories, future plans, and personal struggles. Instead of wondering how to keep her interested, he becomes interested in building something meaningful together. His vocabulary also changes in subtle ways. He starts saying "we" instead of "I." He asks, "How was your day?" and genuinely waits to hear the answer. He remembers details from previous conversations because they matter to him. He checks in without expecting anything in return. Even during disagreements, he chooses words that solve problems instead of creating new ones. His goal is no longer to win the argument, but to protect the relationship. That is what emotional maturity looks like in everyday life. It is not dramatic or flashy. It is steady, thoughtful, and consistent. When a man's heart belongs to an older woman, his communication reflects the security he feels in her presence. His words become more patient, his tone becomes more respectful, and his conversations become more meaningful. Without realizing it, every sentence begins revealing not only how he feels about her, but also how much he has grown because of the connection they share. Many people believe attraction is built through excitement, mystery, or constant pursuit. They think the person who creates the most emotional drama is the one who becomes unforgettable. But lasting relationships rarely grow from emotional chaos. They grow from something much stronger and far more dependable: respect. When a man's heart truly belongs to an older woman, respect becomes the foundation of everything he feels. It shapes the way he listens, the way he speaks, and the way he treats her every single day. Respect is different from admiration, and it is certainly different from obsession. Admiration recognizes someone's qualities, while respect values who they are as a person. A man who respects a woman does not feel the need to control her, compete with her, or constantly test her feelings. He understands that real love is not about winning someone's attention. It is about honoring their individuality and appreciating the life they have built before he ever became a part of it. An older woman often earns this respect naturally because she knows her worth without needing to announce it. She's comfortable setting healthy boundaries and expressing her opinions without fear. She doesn't chase approval or change herself to satisfy everyone around her. That quiet confidence sends a powerful message. It tells him that she values herself, and in return, he begins valuing her even more. Instead of seeing her independence as a threat, he sees it as one of the very reasons he feels drawn to her. This changes the entire dynamic of the relationship. Conversations become more balanced because both people feel heard. Decisions become easier because they are made together rather than forced by one person. Even disagreements become opportunities to understand each other instead of battles to determine who is right. A man who truly respects an older woman chooses his words carefully because he never wants to damage the trust they have created. He understands that one careless sentence can hurt someone who has given him genuine kindness and emotional security. You can often recognize this respect in the smallest moments. He thanks her for the little things she does. He asks for her thoughts before making important decisions. He keeps his promises because he knows reliability builds trust. He speaks proudly about her when she's not around, and he protects her dignity whether she's standing beside him or not. These actions are not performed to earn praise. They happen naturally because respect has become part of his character. When respect becomes stronger than the desire to chase or impress, the relationship reaches a different level. It becomes calmer, deeper, and far more meaningful. A man no longer measures love by excitement alone. He measures it by trust, consistency, and the quiet certainty that he has found someone whose presence makes him want to become a better version of himself. There comes a moment in many relationships when feelings become too deep to stay hidden. A man may try to appear calm, logical, and completely in control, but the heart has a remarkable way of revealing itself through ordinary conversation. That is why the hidden meaning behind the 11 words is so important. On the surface, they may sound simple, almost ordinary, yet beneath them lies a level of emotional commitment that cannot easily be faked. Those 11 words are, "I feel like I can be myself whenever I'm with you." At first glance, they may not sound dramatic or poetic. They are not the kind of words you see in romantic movies or hear in grand declarations of love, yet they carry a meaning that reaches much deeper than passionate compliments ever could. They reveal that a man has found something many people spend their entire lives searching for, a place where he feels accepted without pretending to be someone else. Think about what those words truly mean. A man is not saying that every day is perfect or that every problem has disappeared. He is saying that your presence gives him permission to stop performing. He no longer feels pressured to impress, compete, or hide the parts of himself that others might judge. Around you, he can laugh freely, admit mistakes, share his fears, and express his dreams without worrying that his honesty will push you away. That level of emotional safety is one of the strongest signs of genuine attachment. An older woman often creates this feeling because she has learned that love grows through acceptance rather than constant evaluation. She understands that people are imperfect and that lasting relationships are built by embracing those imperfections instead of criticizing them. Her calm presence encourages openness. Her patience invites honesty. Her confidence allows him to lower the emotional walls he has carried for years. These 11 words also reveal trust. Trust is not built overnight, nor is it created through charming conversations alone. It develops through countless moments of consistency, understanding, and reliability. Every time she listens without interrupting, supports without controlling, and encourages without judging, another layer of trust is added. Eventually, he reaches a point where those words simply slip out because they describe exactly how he feels. That is why this simple sentence carries so much power. It is not merely a compliment, it is a confession. It tells you that he has stopped protecting his heart from you because he no longer sees you as someone who might hurt it. Instead, he sees you as the one person who makes him feel completely understood. When a man says those 11 words with sincerity, he is revealing far more than comfort. He is quietly revealing where his heart has already chosen to belong. One of the most overlooked reasons a man becomes deeply attached to an older woman is not simply her age. It is the emotional honesty she inspires within him. Many men spend years believing they must always appear strong, composed, and unaffected. They learn to hide disappointment, suppress fear, and carry emotional burdens in silence because they worry that vulnerability will be seen as weakness. Over time, that habit becomes exhausting. Then they meet someone who doesn't demand perfection, and everything begins to change. An older woman often creates an environment where honesty feels safe instead of risky. She usually understands that every person carries unseen struggles, and she doesn't rush to judge or criticize them. Instead of expecting flawless behavior, she values sincerity. She pays attention not only to what a man says, but also to what he means. That simple difference allows him to speak more openly than he has in years. At first, the changes are subtle. He shares a story from his past that he rarely tells anyone. He admits that a difficult experience still affects him. He confesses a dream he has been afraid to chase or a fear he has been trying to hide. These conversations are not signs of weakness. They are signs of trust. They happen because he senses that his honesty will be met with understanding instead of rejection. This emotional honesty also changes the rhythm of their conversations. They spend less time talking about appearances, impressing each other, or proving who is right. Instead, they discuss values, ambitions, disappointments, family, purpose, and the lessons life has taught them. Every meaningful conversation strengthens the connection because both people begin to see each other beyond the surface. The relationship becomes rooted in authenticity rather than image. An older woman often responds with calm instead of drama. She listens without interrupting, asks thoughtful questions, and offers perspective without making him feel small. That response encourages even greater openness. He begins to realize that he doesn't have to edit every emotion before speaking. He can express happiness, uncertainty, frustration, or hope without fearing that he will lose her respect. As this pattern continues, his words naturally become more genuine. He starts saying things like, "I've never told anyone this before," or "I feel comfortable talking to you." These statements may sound simple, but they reveal something extraordinary. They show that she has become a person he trusts with the parts of himself that remain hidden from almost everyone else. That is why emotional honesty is such a powerful sign of genuine love. A man does not reveal his deepest thoughts to someone he merely admires for a moment. He reveals them to the person who makes him feel accepted without conditions. When an older woman creates that rare sense of acceptance, his heart responds in the most natural way possible by replacing guarded conversations with honest ones, reserved words with sincere ones, and emotional distance with genuine closeness. There is a significant difference between someone who is briefly fascinated and someone who is deeply in love. Fascination is exciting, but it is often driven by curiosity, novelty, or imagination. It burns brightly in the beginning, thrives on uncertainty, and often fades when reality appears. Lasting love, however, follows a very different path. It grows quietly through trust, shared experiences, and emotional consistency. When a man's heart truly belongs to an older woman, this difference becomes impossible to ignore. Temporary fascination is usually focused on how someone makes a person feel in the moment. Every conversation feels thrilling because everything is new. Every meeting carries a sense of mystery because little is known about the other person. While these emotions can be exciting, they are not always stable. They depend heavily on excitement, surprises, and constant stimulation. When those things begin to fade, fascination often fades with them. Lasting love does not rely on constant excitement. It finds strength in familiarity. A man begins to appreciate the comfort of knowing someone who understands him without requiring endless explanations. He values the peaceful moments just as much as the exciting ones. Sitting together in silence becomes just as meaningful as sharing a long conversation. The relationship no longer depends on dramatic gestures because the emotional bond has become strong enough to stand on its own. An older woman often encourages this deeper connection because she understands that healthy relationships are built one day at a time. She does not expect perfection, nor does she believe every moment must feel extraordinary. She values honesty, patience, and mutual respect over constant emotional highs. This steady approach helps a man recognize that genuine love is not measured by intensity alone. It is measured by reliability, commitment, and the desire to continue choosing each other even after the excitement of the beginning has settled. His words begin to reveal this transformation. Instead of saying, "I can't stop thinking about you," he starts saying, "I want you in my future." Instead of chasing unpredictable emotions, he begins making dependable plans. He introduces her to the important people in his life, remembers the promises he makes, and includes her in decisions that shape his future. His language shifts from the excitement of today to the certainty of tomorrow. This is the moment where fascination ends and lasting love begins. It is no longer about proving feelings through dramatic declarations. It is about demonstrating them through consistent actions and sincere words. A man whose heart truly belongs to an older woman stops asking whether the relationship can survive. Instead, he begins asking how they can continue growing together. That quiet change in perspective reveals more than passion ever could. It shows that his emotions are no longer temporary, no longer uncertain, and no longer searching. They have found a place where they genuinely want to remain. If there is one lesson that ties everything together, it is this: the heart always leaves clues. People can control their expressions, they can choose their actions carefully, they can even convince themselves that their feelings are not as deep as they truly are. But their words often tell a different story. When a man's heart genuinely belongs to an older woman, his language begins to reveal what his mind can no longer hide. This is why authentic connection always finds its way into everyday conversation. It is not about memorized romantic phrases or dramatic declarations. It is about the small, sincere sentences that appear naturally. He remembers the little details she mentioned weeks ago. He asks how her day went because he genuinely wants to know. He checks that she arrived home safely without expecting praise. He thanks her for the smallest acts of kindness because he no longer takes her presence for granted. These words may seem ordinary to an outsider, but together they tell an extraordinary story. An older woman often inspires this kind of connection because she offers something that cannot be measured by age alone. She brings perspective instead of panic. She brings confidence instead of competition. She brings stability instead of emotional games. In her presence, a man discovers that love does not have to feel confusing to be exciting. It does not have to feel uncertain to be meaningful. Instead, it becomes a place where honesty is welcomed, respect is mutual, and both people are free to grow without pretending to be someone they are not. That is why the 11 words we discussed carry so much weight. I feel like I can be myself whenever I'm with you. Those words are not simply a compliment, they are evidence of trust. They reveal that emotional walls have come down and genuine acceptance has taken their place. Very few people make someone feel that safe, and when they do, the connection becomes incredibly difficult to replace. So if you ever hear those words spoken with quiet sincerity, don't dismiss them because they sound simple. Listen to what they truly mean. They are saying, I trust you. They are saying, I respect you. They are saying, your presence gives me peace. And sometimes without ever using the words, I love you, they are saying exactly that. The strongest relationships are not built on perfect appearances or endless excitement. They are built on emotional safety, mutual respect, honest communication, and the freedom to be completely authentic. When those qualities exist, words stop being empty sounds and become windows into the heart. And once a man reaches that place, he doesn't just admire the woman beside him, he quietly realizes that she has become the place where his heart feels most at home. As we come to the end of this conversation, remember one simple truth. Love is rarely announced with grand speeches. More often, it reveals itself through quiet moments, honest conversations, and ordinary words spoken with extraordinary sincerity. When a man's heart truly belongs to an older woman, his priorities begin to change. He stops chasing excitement for its own sake and starts valuing peace. He stops trying to impress and starts trying to understand. He stops hiding behind emotional walls and begins speaking from a place of trust. The 11 words we explored today are powerful because they reveal something deeper than attraction. They reveal emotional safety. And when someone says, I feel like I can be myself whenever I'm with you, they are offering one of the greatest compliments a person can receive. They are saying that your presence brings comfort, acceptance, and a sense of home that cannot be manufactured or forced. So don't judge a relationship by age, appearances, or the opinions of others. Judge it by the respect it creates, the honesty it encourages, the growth it inspires, and the peace it brings into both lives. Because real love is never measured by the number of birthdays two people have celebrated. It is measured by how freely they can be themselves when they are together. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more insights into relationships and human psychology, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And before you go, tell me in the comments, do you believe emotional maturity is more important than age in a lasting relationship? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, take care of your heart, value those who bring you peace, and never underestimate the quiet power of words that come straight from the soul.